Hey everyone, welcome back to Mediterranean. My name is Matt. Today we are driving deep out to the Olympic Peninsula. We're going to be doing some camping on the Sol Duc River. Really looking forward to that. Should be an awesome time. Just now getting close to the Hood Canal Bridge, so I'm going to shut off this camera and get back to driving. Well, I finally made it. This is going to be a great sight. Got a little bit of highway noise right now, but as the night goes on, it's not going to be much of an issue. Plus, I'm right up against the Sol Duc River, so I'm going to have the sound of that to help drown out the cars. It's about 2:30 right now, so I've got about 5 hours. Not 5 hours. Geez, I wish I had 5 hours of light left. No, I've got about 3 hours of light left. It's 41 degrees right now, so I'm going to make the most of this time and get camp set up, start gathering firewood, then walk down and check out the river. So I finally got everything set up. Took a lot longer than normal. If you've watched some of my videos in the past, you might notice that this tarp I have with me today is different from the one I usually have with me. That's because it's a new one. And part of the reason why I'm out on this trip, other than just to get out and camp like I always need to and want to, is to give this tarp a full work through and review. I'm actually going to be doing a full review video on it coming up probably in the next week. So look out for that. In the meantime, I need to get some firewood gathered. I have a feeling I'm not going to have much luck getting a fire going. This wood is super soaked. We'll see if we get it going. If not, I brought the propane stove as a backup to cook food, so it'll be good no matter what. Just hopefully it'll be nice to have a fire and get going. We'll get it going from there. This is just the toilet paper tube stuffed with dryer lint and dryer sheets. Makes for a good fire starter. We're gonna see how this goes. Hopefully it works out. Right now I'm just enjoying some water. I brought along some really good bourbon barrel-aged stouts. So should probably hold off on those, see how this goes, and see if I need to run into town. Wouldn't be a good idea to crack those open before starting. So just gonna hang out for a minute, see if I can get this to actually get going where I need to go and develop some coals to cook. And we'll check back in a minute. Alright, so it's about 6 o'clock and I don't know if this fire is going to get to where I need it to get to make dinner. And I think by the time, if it does take off where I need to get, by the time it has coals that are good enough to cook on, it's going to be too late and too dark to actually do anything. I did happen to bring a new lantern that I got from Harbor Freight for 15 bucks. It's super bright. I'm really excited to try it out. Anyway, I'm going to start getting the food out and start making dinner. This knife is awful. Each time I go out, I'm like, I need to get a better knife, chef's knife to bring camping with me.
get back out on the next trip. And what have I done? Nothing. Same old crappy night. But anyway, crappy night aside, tonight I've decided to make cowboy stew. Some Worcestershire sauce, a little garlic, a little paprika,
So an explanation on tonight's meal. This is called Cowboy stew. This is something my dad made growing up. Super simple. I know you're probably watching thinking, okay, we're off to a good start. We got some ground beef, we got some onions, salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, Worcestershire, and then out came the pork and beans. And I know you're probably like, or maybe some of you were like, hey man, beans, sweet. But I know for a lot of people that may have been a turnoff. But it's just a part of my childhood and I loved it. Pork and beans were a staple. They were almost like a side or a condiment, really. Like, we would put them on top of baked potatoes and other things like that. It was just a constant side in the house, and this was just something my dad made. And just something I was really craving today. Something comforting, something that was a nice reminder of home. Like everyone else, this last year it's been hard to see family. I got to go back to Oklahoma once this year. To visit my new niece, but it sucked. I miss my family, I miss my friends. Like I said, my brother and his wife just had a daughter, so I am an uncle now. Super awesome, but I've only got to meet her once, and it just sucks not getting to be around. Missing my dad, my stepmom, my mom, my brother, my sister, and all my friends. And so this is just a way of remembering them tonight, let them know I'm thinking of them. And to my dad, if you're watching, I'm so sorry for using the Campbell's pork and beans. My dad's bean of choice is Showboat, but those are hard to find now that they've been bought out by Bush. And even that was hard to find at the grocery store I went to. Well, just didn't have it. The only pork and beans they had were these Campbell's, but they'll do. It'll do. Part near the right thing. So I'm gonna dig in before this gets cold. Our friend Leaf, who owns this property, her and her husband Gary, they're being so awesome and letting me camp here. They came over to see how I was doing. Saw my firewood situation. They hooked me up with some nice dry firewood. I was just going to call it a night and crawl in the hammock, but now that the fire's going, I'm going to sit around here and crack open the barrel-aged Imperial Stout from Revision Brewing, brewed with Madagascar bourbon vanilla beans, cacao nibs, and toasted coconut, coming in at 13%. So it's a hefty boy. So let's crack this open. Oh man, just a perfect balance of the bourbon, the vanilla, the cacao. You really taste the chocolate. I love giant stouts, especially in this kind of weather. It's just the perfect camping beer, perfect anytime beer. Honestly, I love these beers in the summertime too. Yeah, I can't wait till things open up again. I can start brewing these kind of beers again and get Witch Dog up and going and getting to share them with people. And really looking forward to that. I've been lucky in that most of my jobs have been dream jobs. Before I had the brewery in Oklahoma, I worked in video and animation. I loved that job. Loved beer even more, got into that. Started a brewery. Then after I left the brewery in Oklahoma City, I got back into what I did before, but at a better level. Doing the stuff I kind of really wanted to do with that on the animation and special effects side. But I've also been so excited to get Witch Dog up and going. And this last year, it's been a bummer not being able to really get going and having to put everything on pause just as soon as I started it. But I've been thinking about this a lot the last couple of weeks. If I could snap my fingers and have any job, even though my jobs have all been dream jobs and things I love, it would be to somehow combine my love of camping and backpacking with my love of brewing and sharing beers with people. And I think the way to do that would be to operate as a nomadic brewer, kind of like McKellar and some other people have done, where kind of like what I'm doing now as a tenant brewer, not having my own space. So I would travel the country, travel the world, camping and backpacking, and as I'm in a different area, set up a tenant brewer arrangement with a certain brewery in a given area, brew my beers there, or maybe even just do collaborations with them. You know, just kind of travel the country and basically getting to share my beer with as many people as possible, and but still keeping it about the beer, and also at the same time really focus on camping and backpacking. Stranger things have happened, and I'm really hopeful that I can somehow make that happen. And I think, who knows, maybe this channel will blow up and that'll make it happen. So hit that subscribe button and I'll be well on my way to being a nomadic brewer, camper, YouTuber. It's not that I do YouTube for, I don't want to be, you know, I'm not chasing fame or anything like that. I love sharing what I do on these trips. I love nature so much. And so many of my friends and family, you know, they don't live here, they don't get to see it, or there's people that haven't got to do this stuff at all, and I love getting to share this stuff. Just like when I brew beer, I love getting to share it. So I think it'd be really cool if this channel did well enough to where it at least started covering the cost of some of these trips, and who knows, maybe like if it did blow up, make it happen. So like I said, be sure and hit the subscribe button and you'll help me be on my way to that. That aside, going back to the whole topic of just loving this, if you're watching this, I assume you're probably already into camping or backpacking, but I'm sure there's also some of you that don't. Maybe you love watching these videos, you just find them relaxing, and that's awesome too. I'm so glad. Anybody who's watching, I'm glad you're here, and I really appreciate you taking the time. But if you are someone who has thought about camping, I just want to encourage you, make this the year that you get out and start camping. If it's something that you feel an interest in doing, but you've been afraid to do. There's all kinds of fears that come with this that kept me from doing it for years. Fears like wild animals or people or things like that. But I'm telling you, the more you get out, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. I won't lie, there's times where I go out and I'll hear a rustle in the middle of the night and think, oh, it's a bear. Or, oh, it's a mountain lion, you know. But it never is. And if it is, odds are they don't care. And you take precautions. Just be careful and you be safe about it. Or maybe you feel like you have physical limitations. I understand it completely. Several years ago, I weighed 340 pounds. I never would have dreamed I'd be doing this kind of stuff. But it was because we moved here and I saw this wonderful environment we lived in, and I had to get out and experience it. So I just started making small steps, and eventually I was able to do it. I just encourage you, don't let whatever mental or physical limitations you may think you have keep you from doing it. Just, even if you have any questions or any concerns that are holding you back, I encourage you, please reach out, leave a comment below. I would love to help you get out into nature and start doing these things that you're watching, you feel like you want to do, but you feel like you can't. Just start where you are. You could even just start in the backyard or finding some public land. You don't have to go on a crazy backpacking adventure. You know, even state and city parks, it's a great way to start. And you don't have to have a lot of money on, you don't have to invest a lot of money in gear. There's some really good budget gear out now. There are places that will rent gear. Places like OfferUp or Craigslist, you can find free gear sometimes. Lots of good resources. I know I'm meandering on and on, but I really want to encourage you. If you're someone that hasn't gone camping in a long time and you miss it, again, make this the year you do it. If you've never done it, make this the year you do it. I promise you, you'll be glad you did. I wish I had started this years ago, and I regret that I didn't, but I'm glad I'm here now. As the smoke rises from the fire. Anyway, like I said, I know this is a long rant, but I've got a passion for this. I've got a passion for a lot of things like beer and brewing. but I feel like this is something that everybody can get out and enjoy, and I want to see you do it too. So cheers to you in this year. Thanks for being here, and I'm going to continue to be OS Fire, and I'll check in before I go to beer. Before I go to bed. I've only drank this much, and you can see what it's doing. Anyway, check that in a little bit.
Man, I slept great last night. I was gonna check in before I went to sleep, but I just crashed out as soon as I got in the hammock. Slept from probably 11:30, woke up around 1 and the fire was just then going out. Reverse fires, that's the way to go, especially if you're short on fuel. That's the way to go because they burn them all the time. Aside from that, I only woke up around 1 other time, I think around 4 o'clock to answer the call of nature, and then time traveled straight to around 9:15. Amazing night of sleep. Slept so great. There was no highway traffic or highway noise throughout the night, so that was really nice. So I'm gonna get my day started. I'm gonna try to make biscuits and gravy on the camp stove, and we'll see how that goes. Let's get it set up. First, better start making some coffee.
So I made my homemade biscuits ahead of time, cut them into squares, froze them, vacuum sealed them, and threw them in the cooler. That way I didn't have to mess with bringing all the dry ingredients and buttermilk and everything else to make it happen. I haven't tried this on a camp stove before. I'm short of work. What I'm going to do is place some parchment paper on top of the cast iron pan, cover that in foil, have the heat down low, just kind of flip it every once in a while, and hopefully it turns out. So I think it was the combination of the tarp with doors, which I haven't had before, having the top cover on the hammock, as well as having the underquilt protector on the underquilt. I slept really warm, really great. That may have been my best night in the hammock yet. Super, super comfortable, super warm. Started off, had a couple cold spots in my back and readjusted, but got it dialed in. I think I'm really gonna like having a hammock with doors on it for this time of year. But I got some more testing to do before I can do my full review on it. Oh, looks like the water's boiling. Time to make some coffee.
Set that aside.
So I picked up this little tube of sausage from Dollar Tree. Oh hell, man, this is great. Perfect size just for me to make some biscuits and gravy. I open it up. Hopefully you can see well on the other camera. It looks like it's just a tube of fat. So we'll see how well that turns out. My biscuits and gravy are something I really like cooking for guests when they come in to see us. Most of our guests are usually from Oklahoma, friends or family. Occasionally we'll get some friends up from Portland. My favorite thing is Saturday mornings to load up my Yacht Rock playlist on Spotify and make these biscuits from scratch. Pull up the wells of gravy. I love cooking for people, especially really hearty dishes like this. So it's gonna be nice to make this for the first time while camping. Can't believe I haven't done this before. A little messy, but not too bad as far as cleaning. It's so much better than those Instapacks. Those are great for backpacking, but when you're camping, you can bring real coffee. Nothing better than a French press. All right, it's looking like this is ready, so I'm gonna plate it up, take a seat, dig in. Everything looks like it turned out okay. The biscuits cooked a little fast, but didn't burn them, so that's good. I'd like to get a Dutch oven and make things like this a lot easier. Yep. That'll do. That'll do. Man. What a great place to eat biscuits and gravy in. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I can either head back tonight, try a different spot, or just stay here, hunker down. So, I'm eat my breakfast, drink my coffee, sit around for a little bit, maybe walk down to the river, check it out some more, and then make a decision from there. Either way, I'm going to have to gather more firewood or go into town and buy some if I can't find any dry, which isn't likely because Lost is all waterlogged by this point in the wintertime. I'm going to finish this breakfast and I'll check back in a little bit later. Alright, so I got everything packed up and cleaned up from breakfast. Let's walk down to the river here, check things out. Well, since it's been almost a year since I've been out this way, which is the longest it's been in a while, and I'm only 20 minutes from Rialto Beach, let's head out there and check it out. It's one of my favorite beaches on the coast. So this is the town of Forks, Washington. Oh, this place right here, Sully's Burgers. If you're ever in Forks, stop in there, get a fish switch, extra tartar sauce. Trust me, it's delicious. So fun fact, Forks, Washington is the town that Twilight, the movie and the books took place. And this is actually, in a weird way, how we ended up moving to Washington. It's probably a story for another video, but
stopped into a store to pick up a couple of things for tonight, and I'm gonna see if I can find some firewood and then head back to the campsite, get things set up for this evening.
All right, so I made it back to camp. There's probably a good chance it might rain tonight, so I'm thinking about setting up a tarp over the area where I'm going to sit tonight. So let's get this set up. Kind of haphazardly set up this tarp. I don't have enough stakes to tie it out the way I'd really like to, but it's getting the job done. Sitting here, staring at the river, staring at the trees, enjoying a nice little snack. Do this for a little bit, and then start getting the fire set up. Hopefully, maybe cook over the fire. We'll see. If not, we'll use the camp stove. But for the time being, I'm gonna sit here and enjoy my snack, and check back in later. Well, it looks like I don't have a choice tonight. I went to hook up the propane camp stove, and it's not working. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the propane somehow fouled up the lines. I'm going to have to take it apart when I get home and check it out. So it looks like I don't have a choice but to cook this on the fire tonight. So fingers crossed. Fire started off well. It's lit. It's going to go. So I'm going to give it a little bit here, get some coals forming, and then I'll be cooking an Oklahoma onion burger. Staking on the Oklahoma theme on this trip. The way I'm probably going to cook it, because I want to do it before I lose too much light, I wouldn't normally do, but Oklahoma onion burger, it only cooks for 5 to 6 minutes, and I'm only cooking the burger and that's it. So it'll be a little precarious and I wouldn't recommend it, but it'll be okay for the night with this. Couple patties, salt. Now, I should have brought a mandolin from home to get the onions thinner, because these onions really should be paper thin, but this will do. It's just a really simple classic burger. Only salt. All right. This looks good, smells good. I cannot wait to dig in. It's gonna be messy. Like I said, normally at home when I make them, I use mandolin, get the onions paper thin. It's just hard to manage around this fire right now. Normally, slap the patty down, put some salt on it, push the onions into it, let it go for a couple minutes, flip it. The onions, when they're paper thin like that, they cook really fast and get caramelized. And then slap some American cheese, nothing fancy with it, because it is the Oklahoma onion burger. Let it finish off for another couple minutes. Put on a bun with some mustard and pickles. That's how I dress it anyway. Some people put mayonnaise on it too, but let's dig in. Man. Yeah. It's a burger I miss. It's invented in El Reno, Oklahoma. I guess sometime in the Dust Bowl or maybe during the Depression, I can't remember when. Super delicious, and it certainly gained some notoriety. I recommend you try it. I imagine you probably don't want to see me get burger all over my face and my clothes. So I'm going to shut off the camera and enjoy this burger. Be back in a little bit. Well, it's been a nice evening. Dinner was excellent. Just been sitting enjoying this fire, starting off into nothing. Just going to enjoy this beer from the brewery called Bakery. It's a imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels with coconut and vanilla. Really tasty, like most things from the brewery. So I'm just going to spend the rest of the evening waiting for this fire to die down and crawl into the hammock. Probably going to call it an early night. I got to hit the road early in the morning and go back home. That said, I'm going to call it a night for this evening and maybe check in the morning before I head home. Good morning. It was a lot more cold last night than it was the night before. Had a lot more condensation in the hammock this morning. I had a lot of drying out to do of all my equipment when I get home. I've gone ahead and broken down camp. I have to say, this was really nice to be able to get 2 nights out without having any interruptions or having to bail early due to wildfires or having my campsite flooded out. So it was really nice. If you haven't already, hitting the subscribe and like buttons below would really mean a lot to me and really help the growth of this channel. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, I've included links below, including to my Amazon wish list, as well as a Patreon I've just started. I'm still figuring out all the details of Patreon, but it seems like it might be a good way to support the channel. Anyway, I just want to thank you again for making it this far in and stopping by to watch the videos. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you did too. So thanks again for watching Manitarian. I'm Matt. Until next time, stay awesome.